What's good, YouTube? Welcome back. We are back after our week's sabbatical in the bye, and we are ready to get knee-deep in all things Blue Baggers. As always, we have a few outs. Apologies from Nick, our humble sponsor, and the great man himself from Horizon Finance. He's currently setting up his brand new business, his car yard, so he's unfortunately having to do real life things while we get to pretend to have fun. So we love you. And Ian, unfortunately, last minute out. So we're sending our love and regards to Ian. Hopefully he's back next week, but he had some things coming up. But we do love our Ian. But as always, I'm Pommyinoz. You know that because I say things funny, as it has been mentioned on Twitter this week. But I've got some common guests, some common hosts that you all know now. And first one, my right-hand man, Chat. We need to cheer him up because both of these guys have had bad weeks. We've had a competition at Selection Table, off camera, of who's had the worst week. But reigning champion, defending champion, the man that needs no excuse to be miserable, my good friend, Mr. Leckdog. How are you, Leck?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Doing the team selection should be a bit of a lifter, and chatting with the fantastic chat. I hope my mood hasn't affected the team I submitted, but I suggest by the amount of players that have changed, maybe it has.
I can say, even though there's 3 people selecting, right? Chat, you've got a big job on your hands because there is 30 players in the selection pool, right? And I had the least bad week. I've taken it out on the boys. But joining me, journalist extraordinaire, theology extraordinaire, a man that knows his P's and his Q's, good friend of the channel, legend, I would say. Use that word too much, but this one is very, 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 very apt. The great man himself, John O'Baruch, Gardner Stand. How are you?
Evening, Pom. Evening, Leckdog. Evening, chat. Winter has certainly struck in good old Melbourne town, but geez, it feels as if winter's been around for about the last 3 months because Carlton season has just been icy cold and never really thawed out. So it's certainly been feeling the chill, but no, had a nice weekend off. Not really getting stressed about footy, but certainly watching some of the games, getting frustrated about the footy, which doesn't, I suppose it's a common thing for Carlton supporters these days and Carlton people, but no, we're going well. And as you alluded to, had a crappy 24 hours yesterday, but a much better day today, and very happy to spend the next hour with you two fine gentlemen talking something and trying to pick a team that's going to beat those guys on Sunday night.
Mate, big game this week. Everyone is freshly refreshed. Hopefully I cheer you two up. I know it's winter, the winter blues, but I come into my own in the winter. I was built for winter. I like a little bit of cold. So this weather honestly makes me happy. Seeing people in big duffel coats, having a whinge, the car won't start. This is where I come alive, my friends. So I'll get you through it. My energy, bot chat. Great to have you back. Lovely D, her favourite show of the week. Hey, look, honestly, I do a lot of shows. This is definitely my favourite, but we'll start as we mean to go on, right? And here you are. I'll kick us off. I'll get you all in the mood because you know what? This week, I decided to shoot everyone. Shoot everyone. So in comes Jack Silvani, Jordan Boyd, Zach Williams, Alex Chincotta, Erazio Fantasia, and Flynn Young will debut, or if you're Australian, debut, because you say it weird. But my thought process in this selection was quite simple. You'll see Adam Sard has been dropped. Will White has been dropped. Blake Acres has been dropped. McGovern has been dropped. Motlop has been dropped. And Sam Doherty departs. So the reason being, I've brought Flynn Young in. You look at the I was going to call them something horrible. Really nice. Look at the Bombers, and the Bombers are very strong around stoppage. The big area to beat them at the minute is get the ball out wide and hit them inside 50. So Flynn Young was recruited for that. He's an incredible conduit. I've brought him in straight away. Jesse Motlop evidently is Orazio 2.0. So let's just bring Orazio back in to do that role. Motlop can go back to the VFL, gain some form. Alex Pomcotter comes into the side. 2 reasons. 1, he's my mate and I love him. But 2, more importantly, I want him to do a little bit of a job on Nick Martin, not Zach Merritt. I want him to track Nick Martin across that half-forward line and really hurt him. Jordan Boyd and Williams come in. So I've had a theory. I keep picking a team that I would play. I thought about picking a team to make Voss play his way. So Voss likes kickers. He doesn't like running it out of the back line. Adam Sard has looked a little bit lost in that lockdown role. Zach Williams comes in, plays his football. Jordan Boyd is a player of the football. And I've kept O'Farrell in because I love the fact he was playing out in front on his man, and I've not really liked McGovern's entire year. So I feel like that won't impede on Haynes. Aside from that, fairly straightforward. You'll see how Lewis Young kept his job. I like that 3-tall system, and I want Charlie Curnow kicking it into 50, Lord kicking it into 50. And if anyone says, but Doc had a good game, do you know what I mean? Look, let's be honest. Let's be honest about Samuel Doherty. He had a good game, yes. We're playing to win, though. We are playing to win. So he can go back to VFL. He's always there if we need him. I don't feel this is a game that you need Sam Doherty. Let's see what Binns and Ollie Hollands can do out on the wide with players to kick into. I will field questions. Chat, get them in. I'll start with you, Dog. Bully me.
I mean, can't really bully you for a team that is going to end up looking pretty similar to mine. So let's talk about Fantasia. He's played his required 15 minutes in the VFL, so I think in real life he's going to play. He was much maligned until we went into this year and his replacements were not up to the task. What do you think he's going to bring? Do you think he's going to play that weird Jesse Motlop role, or is he actually going to play a forward line role?
Look, last year when I saw Orazio play that role, I just thought it was banter. Genuinely, I thought maybe Voss had a deal with Hinckley. We'd take him on, and that was just where we played him. Then we signed Jagger, and I instantly assumed, okay, it's a 5th midfield rotation. This makes sense. This makes sense. Then, when I saw Jesse Motlop do it for 13 weeks, I was like, okay, Voss is taking the piss. Voss is taking the piss because now he's trying to ruin Jesse's career. So I've brought in Orazio. Literally, he's done that role. In all honesty, I think Motlop and Fantasia are the same player in that role. But I'd rather sacrifice Fantasia and his development because he's not going to get better than the great man, Jesse Motlop. Jesse, go back to VFL, play in the forward line, kick some goals, find some confidence, and hopefully when you come back, you'll play your natural position in the forward pocket. Was my thinking.
It's a strange role that we've got those guys filling rather than like I know Fogarty's been out, but he's never played that role for us. But like he played as a midfielder his entire life until he came to the Blues. We don't use him in it. We use the small forwards. It's bizarre.
Yeah. So that's it. That was my thinking for that. Jono, have you got any questions for me? I've really axed the team.
Yeah, you've really swung the axe, Pom. I've got a couple of questions. I'll start with a comment. Adam Sard is not going to get dropped. I know I can understand your terminology, but if you would have read, I'm sure you would have read my mid-season review, Pom. I reckon Adam Sard is crucial to the way that this club needs to play in the second half of the season, and that is just give him the ball at all costs, and instead of having him in that lockdown role, just give it to him. First thought, let him run, because they've never actually used him properly. Albert has stolen my question, or one of my questions, is you've named Zach Williams off the halfback flank. Are we ditching that forward experiment? Are we throwing him back?
Well, I mean, look, when you've got Chincotta there, who is a natural halfback, you can play up, you can play down. He's played them all. Reason I've put Zach Williams there is, and to answer your question about Sard, Voss, for me, I don't think he'll be dropped, right? For two reasons. One, we're very one-dimensional in our thinking at Carlton selection. And two, right, he's Adam Sard. He doesn't get dropped. But I've picked a team based on what Michael Voss is trying to do in the back line and giving him the personnel to do it. So Adam Sard is never going to be a 90% by foot out in space footballer. He is a line breaker that needs the ball coming at pace with handballs and handball chains. We don't do that. So my thinking here, Zach Williams, why did we buy him as a midfielder? Because he kicked and he ran, but he hit targets. Same with Boyd. So I've tried to give Voss a little helping hand here and say, look, I don't like your system, but this team here plays your system. So Adam Sard, for me, completely wasted as a lockdown player. Like,
exactly.
Completely.
So get him up the ground and get him running and doing everything. Why don't even move him onto a wing instead of over Jackson Binns? I've got a question.
Yeah,
for you
so,
about
and my theory is with Jesse Motlop and Adam Sard, if there is a role change, we have the VFL for role changes. I have hated this first 12 weeks of the season because we're treating the AFL, the top level of football, as a training ground. And that's not what you do. Do you know what I mean? The training ground is the VFL. Players come into this team and play their natural positions. And simply, like, honestly, I think you've been watching the wrong game. If you think Adam Sard and McGovern have been as good as they're paid to be this year, I think you need your bumps feeling. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, I don't think they've been near the level of senior players that I would expect.
No, but there's at least 10 of those guys that you can put in that category.
There is, but unfortunately, I've got no key forward to replace Kerno and Mackay. I haven't got a ruckman suitable to drop TDK. Like, unfortunately, my list management team haven't given me replacements. So I'm replacing the players where I can replace them and hopefully add a little bit of excitement.
Yeah. I think at his best, at his absolute best, and we've seen him at his best, Sard gives you that bounce that you need and can really get the team forward. What does this team really need? It needs a little bit of aggression. It needs a little bit of flair. And really, as much as you say, Pom, Voss likes his kickers out of the back line's stacked with kickers like Haynes, Jesus, Wiedering, Boyd, Carroll. They can all use the ball. Adam Sard is usually a beautiful kick of the ball, but what do we see him doing? Like, is doing more often than not is doing those little dinky kicks to try and cut an angle. Just let him fly, let him go. Give him that freedom.
I'm with you, but
yeah,
it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Like, it doesn't happen. So that was the selection. Last week, some people picked on me for making the team how I'd play. This week, I've picked a team that if Michael Voss said to me, Pom, I want to play this way, I'd put this is the worst game style I've ever seen away, and I'd pick him a team to try and play that way. And I agree with you. I think McGovern and Haynes doesn't work unless there's no Jesus. But when Jesus is there, they've got to stay out of each other's way. So the reason I went Carroll over Sard is Carroll has upside and can play lockdown. And honestly, I love Adam Sard, but like, genuinely, he's pushing 30. He should be Rory Laird. He should be like Zorko, standout. You know what you're getting. And at the minute, I'd rather see the kicking prowess of two other players and play Voss's way. Unless Voss said to me, you know what, Pom, we're going to play on the outside and have some fun. Then I'd be excited. But I've assumed he'll play the way he wants to.
We've tried the outside game, though, and it's all very much saying kick it down the line and pray to God one of the big boys mark it. That's usually how our outside game has worked, which hasn't worked. Speaking of the outside, mentioned this guy before. You fired Blake Acres. You're trusting the young boys to do the jobs on the wings. I've liked Ollie Hollands in the last few weeks, particularly that patch against the Giants in when he was really playing his brother's role up on the half-forward flank, but I reckon he's best suited to the wing. Why have you gone Binns over Acres? I know Acres has had a rotten year, but it's a lot of responsibility for Binns, where it's been okay, but I wouldn't really be like certain giving him that role 100% just yet.
To be honest, there was a little bit of petulant Pom in this team selection, and you covered it there. The kicking down the wing, and I thought about it, and I was like, "Can I stop that wing kick?" And I was like, I did have Acres there over Binns, and then I was like, "Fuck me, Acres is good in the air. I can see what's going to happen here. That's going to become an outlet ball." So that's why I kept Binns in there. The idea is here, and I can see what Voss is trying to do, get that run and stun at that third kick. I've given him two guys that just run the ball in hand. So hopefully this setup here, you'll see Charlie Kono at half forward. He can play that wing high up the roll and be that exit kick. But when Charlie does it, he plays on quick. When Harry does it, he takes a week. So I've tried to force that there. Do you know what I mean? Try to forward line. Try and pigeonhole it in there. So that was the theory. Do you know what I mean? Do I think it'll happen? Absolutely not. Because, like I say, Carlton, when they have a Rubik's Cube, if you leave it to the people at the Carlton Football Club, probably anyone associated with Carlton, there's two things they'll do with that Rubik's Cube. They'll have a go for 5 minutes, and then they'll give up. Or, option two, they'll just smash the fuck out of it and put it back together. So I've tried to actually fix the Rubik's Cube, which might shock them at the football club.
Fair enough. And who's your sub?
My sub in this team would probably be Flynn Young to debut that way.
Interesting.
Give him the first day.
Yeah. Are you thinking as well with like my first thought with Fantasia, he comes in, he's that small forward, he's that half forward. He plays the role and it's like, just okay, you don't really have any explosion in you, but you can kick the ball. So are you telling Orazio, don't go anywhere near the midfield? Your job is to say your maximum distance from goal is 70 meters. And your job is to either get on the end of a play inside forward 50 and kick the goal, or your job is to be our deliverer inside forward 50, a la what you've got Charlie Curnow doing, presenting up. I notice you've got Lord on the field, so he's not a sub candidate, but to be fair, even if he was coming off on the interchange, he wouldn't be a sub candidate anymore because he's kind of outgrown that. But are you telling Fantasia that that's your role pretty much? You're not going anywhere beyond 70 meters from goal?
As a selector, I'd never tell Voss how to do his job. So if you're asking me as a selector, I'd imagine he's playing.
Coach Plum.
No,
Plum,
I was going to say, in this
club.
team, this team, I expect him to play identical to Motlop. So 60% on the ball, and then he rests in the forward pocket. If it was me, that role wouldn't even exist. So if I was the coach, Fantasia wouldn't be in this team. Flynn Young would be Fantasia, and Young would be Doherty in that. And I just wouldn't have that role, and I'd just float that midfield role to Lord and other players to give them time. To give them a bit of extra time in the midfield and a bit of point difference. But Voss loves that Motlop role. And you know what? I'll be honest. Round 12, he's broken me. I'm not complaining about the Motlop role anymore. It's a role. He likes it. Fair play to him. I mean, sometimes I like scratching my testicles and sniffing my fingers out after. Is it good for me? Probably not. Should I do it? Probably not. But do you know what I mean? They're my balls, my nose. I'll do what I want. So that's what Voss does with Motlop. But that is my team. Thank you for all your questions, chat. I appreciate you. Mr. Jono, you've just made the 4 changes and you've killed my boy. O'Farrell, take us through it.
I've killed your boy Harry O'Farrell for the very simple reason Jack Silvani is back and someone else has to go out. And it's also going to be a wet night. So unfortunately, Lewis Young has gone out. That's what the bomb says at the moment. We all live in Melbourne. The bomb can change and the weather can do something that the bomb says it's not going to do. So we know that. But at the moment, it says it's going to be a bit wet. So I've tried to go a little bit smaller. I've kind of kept the same theory of keeping the talls at the back because very simply, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So Haynes, McGovern, Wiedering, Silvani, that's the back 4 against the Essendon forward line of Peter Wright, Nate Caddy, Kako, and I don't know, they might give someone a debut that they've just recruited a week ago. You honestly don't know. To answer Albert's question, I agonized over firing Blake Acres and keeping Jackson Binns in. I've gone with Acres purely because I want to give him one last chance. And it's really, for me, just backing in senior players. Binns, to me, the move to put him as a sub against GWS says it's not quite the soft drop, but you're on the verge of getting dropped. He came on in the last quarter, didn't really do much with it. And Lepdog, you know how much I love a sub rule at the moment, but he didn't really do anything with that. So that to me kind of like you kind of said, you're on your way to getting dropped, so you go out. So he goes out. Acres holds his spot. Zach Williams will come in for Jesse Motlop. He just needs a spell. He just needs a rest. He needs to go and find some form. I've kept Sam Doherty in. Pom Cotter comes in. Pom, so it would be great to see him back, and he comes in. He gets a role, and quite simply to Michael Voss as well, is in the last 2 weeks has been beaten by what he knows. Has been beaten by what he knows quite a lot this year, but against Sydney, he got beaten by Zach Heaney, and against GWS, he got beaten by Toby Green, the two fellas that you probably knew could take the game away from Carlton. And against Essendon, who are the two fellas that can take the game away from you, particularly at the moment? It's Nick Martin and Zach Merritt. So Cincotta does the role on Martin across the R forward line. Hewitt will run with Merritt in the centre bounce. If he doesn't,
that's if they don't put Merritt at the half-back line like they have for the last 2 weeks for some
what
reason.
Was with that?
Just doing the opposition's work for him, the Essendon Football Club.
Yeah, so if he doesn't put runs with them, it's a sackable offence. Honestly, I haven't put in Fantasia. I know he is something he can use, but I'm a pedantic, cynical fucker, and I just want to see him play more than 15 minutes in the twos just to make sure that he can get through a full game of football. I've got Durden on watch. I think his last couple of games have been quite poor, and I spoke about it a little bit when I was firing some questions at you, Pommy, but one thing I really want to see from the second half of this year is everyone talks about, we did it in 2023, we might be able to make a run. For me, the mindset's got to change completely. So we've got to get rid of, as a club and as a team, because it all works together, we have to get rid of this she'll be right mentality that's kind of just the way we've been playing for the last 12 weeks. It's not going to get you anywhere. You need to play with a bit of aggression, a little bit of impetus. That's why I've kept Sard in. That's why I've got Carroll in. And that's why I've brought in the likes of Jordan Boyd as well, because they are the guys that can really hurt you. So, yeah, you could stack your backline with all the kickers, but let them kick. Let them run. Let them kick. Lou Foligno says our game plan will change this week. Well, it better freaking change this week. So again, this kind of similar to what Pom's doing, to what Pom's done. I've tried to pick the team that is something that along the lines of what Vossi would do. So hence why I've held firm with some of the senior bodies. And really against that Essendon team, that should be enough. It should. But then again, this is Carlton and anything is possible. So anyway, that's enough yapping from me. I will throw it open to some questions.
I loved it, Jonah. I'll start off with me boy. I've just lost you. Gandolfo, did you think about dropping McGovern and using Sauce in that area? And he also asked, did you think about bringing in Ben and Lucas at half forward and Chincotta going down to half back?
I thought about Lucas for maybe half a second. I know he's getting closer to a recall, but I reckon that will probably happen once the season is totally dead. The reason why I dropped Lewis Young was so McGovern can swing forward if we need to. There is going to be a bit of rain, but as I said, the bomb, Melbourne, anything's possible really, and the G can dry up really nicely. I like the change that Voss pulled at halftime against the Giants and threw McGovern forward. It's just a shame that we couldn't use the ball to actually get it to him, but that really startled GWS for a few minutes there before they wrote the ship and got ready. So that's kind of my thinking. Keep McGovern in so he can go and play forward. I reckon Lewis Young knows exactly what he is in this team, and at the moment is playing his role really well as just a backup third tall, backup defender. Doesn't really know where he's going to be playing week to week, which is a horrible place to be in, but he's seems to be doing it really well. And honestly, hats off to him. I'm sure everyone would have wanted him nowhere near the best 23 at the start of the year, but the fact that he's in and around the squad is a real credit to him halfway through this year. So well done. But on team balance, he goes out this week. And as weird as it sounds, because I canned him in the start of his year, but I reckon I'd back McGovern in to be able to play the swing man role slightly better than Lewis.
When you looked, so my question, cheers Matt as well for your question.
Cheers, mate.
Pom Cotter last week was very interesting in the VFL. Well, the week before. 10 tackles, 20 touches. One of the more bizarre VFL performances as well, because he played on the wing in the second quarter, forward pocket in the third, ended up at the back pocket, and then played on the ball in between that. Like I don't know if Voss was testing out what he was like at hide and seek. Turns out he's good. But with this, would you be going? Because obviously, I noticed the Zach Merritt. Everyone's talking about Zach Merritt. Last week was the first time he was at halfback. They tried it the week before as well when they took the tag away when they won and played him on the forward pocket. The week after, that tag worked and they moved him to the halfback. Do you feel like Alex Chincotta, because he played them roles, is prime for that Merritt role? Or because of that wing job he did, which I thought was very interesting, is that a Martin tag that you're looking at?
I'm looking at the Martin tag, but I also look at the jobs that Chincotta did last year, namely against it was Merritt against the Dons and it was against Tom Stewart against the Cats. He can hurt you going the other way. So in both of those games, Chincotta snuck forward and kicked goals. And they're the best types of role players, the ones who can nullify the opposition's most dangerous player, and then they can hurt you the other way. So one of the reasons I've got him on the half forward line rather than the half back line, it'd be awesome off the half back line because he can run and he can use the ball. And if he needs to go in the middle on as a full-on tagging job, he can do that. But I love him in that half forward line because that's probably where Martin's going to play. He can push up to the center to be that extra bigger body at the stoppage. And then he can hurt you he can hurt you going back the other way. He can slip out the back forward. And because he's that slightly bigger body, Pom, it can cause a bit of a mismatch in the forward line, particularly if he gets out on his own and just happens to find himself forward. So that's why I've got him there. And to Ant Dill's why not Boyd in the Elijah role, I've banged on quite a bit about this, but I reckon that's certainly an option if you want to change it up. And Boyd was a half forward when he was playing VFL for Footscray and delivering the ball. He's got a beautiful kick. If you want to spread around your kickers and make sure that we fix that area of the ground where we're falling down, it'd be a great idea to put Boydie there. I just don't think Foss has the ingenuity to do it. So that's kind of my thing, but I'd love to see it happen.
Mate, I love it. And I hope to see it in VFL. I've seen a few people in the comments saying Mitch McGovern forward and stuff. I'd hope we see it in the VFL, because you got to remember Mitch McGovern hasn't played forward since, do you know what I mean? Since what, 2016, 17? It's going back a bit that he's played it. And he did look lost when he played the other week in that bit. So I'd hope to see a little bit of VFL if we do these role changes.
Yeah.
Like Dog.
And just on Flynn Young before Lek Dog peppers me.
Killed him as well. Killed
just
Farrell
before.
in.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm shooting Bambi Pom. But just on Flynn Young, I would love to see him come in. I just don't think they're going to pick him. Not straight away.
It's a big difference. It's a big jump. I think I'm interested in Joe. Joe's more positive than us three about the Blues in chat. We love Joe. I'm interested. You can respond to this, Joe, in your own time. But Caldwell's actually the one I'm worried about in the midfield this week for Essendon. He's a fucking beast. I love that kid. So he's the one I'm actually worried about.
I love him too. He was my favorite player in that draft.
You know what I'm scared about is that is the Liam McMahon legacy game. That's what I'm scared.
Comes in, kicks 10, lock it in.
Do you know what I mean?
Takes the jumper, goes, fuck you.
Do you know what I mean? But no, just a quick question for chat and for Lek Dog and for Jono. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, even though I take the piss out of it. Lek Dog has seen me take the piss out of conspiracy theories my entire YouTube career. But I see Grant Spicer talking about Elijah and Finn. Did anyone else think that he is that kind of that is there a conspiracy in there when they described him as the link between the midfield and the forward? That it was almost the identical way we described us acquiring Elijah. Did anyone read between the lines and slightly think that was the club maybe saying we might not see Elijah Hollands for the rest of the year?
I didn't, which you'll see when you see my team. I don't know where Elijah's at, but I didn't think that. But I do think it's a gap in our list, and I think the long-term look at Elijah might be concerning, but I don't think that it necessarily means this year. And by the way, we'll say the same thing when Malcolm Roses comes and plays for us at the end of the year as well. So,
I think it was more preparing us for the Matthew Cottrell news.
Sorry, I've got my tin foil hat on.
Very good, Paul. Have you got your hat still, or has that been removed?
No, we moved house since Mrs. Pom made that on the fly. When I first came up with my conspiracy of David Cunningham actually passed away, and the reason we keep lying about his return is because we're just trying to find we're trying to find a lookalike. So I
think you're spot on, Jono. By the way, I completely sort of glanced over the Cottrell news. I think that's exactly what that was. What is the news on him? I just saw he's out. I didn't really read the details. I was too upset. But
yeah, it's a hot spot on his foot, which could mean he's either 3 weeks away or you've got to amputate your foot. So it's kind of.
Can we blame that fitness coach who we sacked 2 years ago? Is that too late to blame him?
Oh
yeah.
Mate, you can blame anyone. This is Carlton. No one's safe. No one's got a personal life anymore. So. Look, just on Lige as well. Like, yeah, we miss him because he's a good footballer, but I think, and I wrote this in my mid-season one-liners, which you can all go read now live on the Garden Stand. I don't think this year is about football anymore for Elijah Hollands. And I think with some of the decisions that we've made as a club this year and some of the ways we've handled these delicate issues around some of our players this year, and I think it's a sensible decision. Our boy is contracted, so there's no like you've got to play football to earn your keep again. But I think we will be doing the right thing by not only Elijah, also by Ollie, but to just tell Elijah it's okay if you don't want to play football for the rest of the year. Just go get yourself right. And I'm nowhere near skilled enough to be able to make a call and say this is what they should do. But if you're asking me for my opinion, I don't think the remainder of 2025, I was going to say what bloody year are we in now, is about football for Elijah Hollands anymore.
Oh, 100%.
Well, in that case, 100%. Tom, you can make a quick edit to mine and put Will White back in my team. No,
100%. I agree with you. Look, I don't think he's I don't think he's retired or anything. When I said that as my Pommspiracy, I just thought that the club has just basically said, look, mate, we've got the immediate replacement for you.
Yeah.
He's taken a 6-month deal, which I thought was interesting because Flynn Young nominated a 6-month deal, that it kind of meant that they could ascertain where Cottrell's foot is and where Elijah's headspace is at the end of the year, but it's not going to detriment the team right now. So that was my theory. And it takes the pressure off him, doesn't it? Because I felt like Harry had an awful lot of pressure to play because he is one key forward in a two-horse
Harry
race.
Signed until 2000. I can't talk. Harry signed until 2030. Elijah's deal runs out at the end of next year, and Cottrell's deal runs out at the end of 2027. So there's a bit to work with there. But for Flynn Young, it's very much, look, you come in 6 months, prove yourself, and hopefully at the end of this 12 weeks, once we've given Elijah some space and Cottrell some chance to heal, we'll get an idea as to whether or not they sit. And if you've done well enough to get yourself another 12 months, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Beautiful.
Mate, I think you nailed it, and hopefully Elijah's back. But yeah, that's how I read it. I just genuinely read it, is there's no one that can play that half-forward role. And then Cottrell was injured two hours later, and I was like, it's all making sense now. Yeah, it's all making sense. I understand. I see the error of my ways. But like Dog, for a man that's had a tough week, you only slayed 4. But I am excited because a great man told me that Carlton won't win a premiership with a ruckman you've seen. So every time I see a new ruckman, I know we're back, baby. I know we're back.
Should have anticipated this.
Hudson O'Keefe is going to be in every team I put on this show this year. Just as an FYI, as long as Lewis Young is in the team, and it's nothing against Lewis Young, as long as we have a third tall in this forward line, Hudson O'Keefe will be in my team. So very simple. O'Farrell unlucky with Sauce coming back in. You can see if you look at the bench that Gov was like my third last selected. So I was on the borderline between O'Farrell and Gov, and I just thought, again, similar to you, Jono, with the weather and just with, you're trying to win this game, you're safer with Gov probably than O'Farrell. So O'Farrell's the unlucky one. He comes out for J Sauce. Carroll also unlucky, but Boyd and Williams are coming back into my back line. Boyd for his kicking and the pressure he can put on sort of at ground level. Williams comes in because if he's going to get hurt, I want it to be in the senior team. I want it to be when he's running through the middle of the ground, taking dangerous kicks. If you really need to, you can swing him forward. But for me, the glimpses we've had of Sard running through the midfield and the glimpses we've had of Williams running through the midfield this year to generate goals, let's just put him in and fucking hope that we have an opportunity to see them do it again. And then, Akers out is probably the main one for me. So same debate you guys had. Is it Binns? Is it Akers? For me, I'm a Binns fan for just my own personal selfishness because I liked him in his draft year. Akers, I have a real life sort of connection to, but he's been really disappointing. I want to see Hollands as the main man on the wing in that sort of attacking half-forward-y wing role. Walsh starts on the wing, but let's be real, he's not going to really play wing. He's going to play slightly outside and rotate through the midfield. And then you've got Doherty to sort of do a hybrid defensive wing role, which whether Doherty or Binns are the sub in this team, I don't really care. They're both going to play the same role and they're going to be on the wing and potentially rotate. I got halfback for stints. And that's the team. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I've kept Motlop in. I know everyone's going to hate that off. Going to hate that. I've kept Durden in. Well, it's just a lack of any other options. The intention for me is that I'm coach and that he's not playing any midfield rotation this week. If I'm not coach, I'm dropping him. So you can take your pick. I don't want Orazio on the team because, like you, Pom, I think he'll play that same weird role. I know you did select him with the intention of him not playing that role, but if he comes in, he will play that mid role, which I hate. And then who else have we got? We've got Flynn, who's never played, and I do like the idea of finding a way to get Chin Cotter in this team, and I'm sure as a collection we will, but he just didn't make my cut.
You know what? I'll get my tinfoil hat, but Pommyinoz, right? Pommyinoz. But
should be a new segment.
I tell you what, I'll bring it back. Legdog will remember it. There used to be a little segment, Pommyinoz, where it was in the dark days of Carlton. I could always find content. It looks like we're going back there. But Pommyinoz, they always do an absolute batshit stupid video at the football club when they're about to do something that you know you're going to punch the TV. And today they released Orazio Fantasia and the great Brodie Kemp making potentially the worst sub, I might add, I've ever seen. But they did do that. But the fact that they had Orazio there screamed to me.
He's in, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's playing.
Yeah. And honestly, that's why he was in my team. I'm going to be totally honest. I was like, okay, he's made a sub. They're not going to bring Brodie Kemp out. He's only got one leg. So Orazio's back, baby.
By the way, I'm going to run out of time because I'm going to have to jump off. So I don't want to take any questions. I want to pick the damn team.
Oh, okay. Fuck you.
Just taking control of your show. But otherwise, I'm going to have to drop off.
Hey, look, I agree. Look, sure, I couldn't agree with you more, right? Let's get Razzle Dazzle in this side. Get Raz in.
Sure.
I am Razin. Right. Okay. Right. So let Dog, because he's thrown that curveball. Let me just do this. Right. Okay. On your screen now, there should be a big picture of me. No, there shouldn't be. Why is this so hard to do when you're put under pressure? Jesus. I used to be good under pressure.
Just because you mentioned the sandwich bomb, I'm going to pat it out. And this is a question for the chat. When did we get to a point in Australia where we changed from shortening sandwich from sanger to a sando? When did that happen?
I've never used that word in my life, and it makes me sick to hear it.
I've seen it everywhere around my workplace at various different cafes, and I look at it thinking, you guys are all wrong. Just what is going on? So it's a question for the chat. Have you seen that before? And if you have, when did that happen?
Let me get that right. So a sandwich is now a sander.
Apparently it's a sando. It went from sanger to a sando.
I was going to say, I assumed you guys called it, because I call it a sarnie. That's Pom for sandwich. Sanger is what Mrs. Pom will say to the kids. Do you want a sanger? I have never heard sander. And if anyone uses sander, honestly, dip your head into the fucking water, cold preferably, and come back into the real world with me. Sander.
Chat has gone off. You must work with a bunch of young people, mate, because I want to come to work with
Jono, and just go, you're wrong. You're fucking wrong. You're fucking wrong. Right. Okay,
Go
let's
up,
pick
go
this
up at the
team.
cafe in the bottom of my building, Pom.
Look, I'm going to go in and I'll just say, look, you guys need fucking a word with yourself. Look, I'll take it back for the Commonwealth again if I have to. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll
Anyway,
get it. But we have to pick a team. So, chat, we need defenders. Sandor Carlisian. It sounds like it's Lando's brother who wasn't very good at flying. Backman. Black Dog, save me a backman.
Jordan Boyd.
Boydie! He's back, baby! Boydie's
Mighty
back!
Ard.
Yeah, that's
Mighty
interesting,
Ard.
Mighty.
Sando is a Japanese-style sandwich. Is not just another name for a sandwich. Thank you for that. I needed that. I needed that. Thank you very much.
I'm fact-checking that, but Mighty Ard is always... It fucking is as well. It's Japanese for a sandwich. Fillings like egg, salad, and katsu, which is a pork cutlet. Sometimes fruit cream. And it looks like basically the picture here is they've cut the sandwich. That is the most foreign food ever. Oh, we've cut the crust off. It's different cuisine.
It's like something you get at a kiddish. Like,
Jono, who are you saving?
I'm saving Jacob Wadering.
Waiters!
Any performance will be better than what he dished up against the Giants.
You know what? J-Sauce comes back into this team. Bit of reliability. I like reliability around these parts. I like it. So, J-Sauce, Japanese milk bread. Oh, darling. Hey, tell you what, Mighty Hard, thank you for that. That is fantastic by you. I like a bit of education.
Not only have we picked a Carlton team, we've gotten a cultural awareness training tonight on the selection table. So thank you, everyone.
Hey, got a big job, don't they?
Milk bread. Oh, you know what?
That just sounds like wet bread.
Anyway, while we're debating the benefits of milk bread, I need 3 defenders from you. The names that I'm looking for are Akers, Binns, Carroll, Chera, Chincotta, Cripps, Kerno, Doherty, Durden, Fantasia, Fogarty, Haynes, Uwit, Lord, McGovern, Mackay, Motlop, Ollie Hollins, O'Farrell, O'Keefe, Sard, TDK, Walsh, White, Williams, Young, Flynn Young.
You're going to run
private school chat, spot on, Tim. Mate, milk bread. Jesus Christ. When I was growing up, I was lucky just to have fresh bread, mate. And by fresh bread, not 4 days old. Can I ask as well, has anyone ever done this? I did something the other day, which I actually hated myself, but I had to go to Coles to get bread. Right? And you know, bread usually after 2 days goes a little bit hard. Mm. How the fuck does that bread go moldy in 2 days? I have never seen
right?
Yeah, it didn't even get, because I like a little bit of stale bread, and then I make like a bread and butter pudding. So I was like, I'll just leave it out of the cupboard and I'll make bread and butter pudding tomorrow. And it was moldy. I'm like, what's going on? It doesn't go moldy first. It goes stale first.
And crumpets are going to the dogs as well.
I reckon Haynes is in.
Haynes,
it looks like it's Haynes. By this, it looks like Carroll, Haynes, and Sard.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think that's it.
Chat, you didn't like me dropping Sard. Come on.
DBKK is trying to move the show on for me, which I really appreciate. Fucking talked about Japanese bread for 20 minutes.
Look, I like a chat. I'm sorry, D. Jesus. It's one of my endearing qualities. Up next, midfielders, Let Dog. I'm only joking.
Ollie Hollins. I'm going to risk my boy. I'm going to put Ollie Hollins in.
I love it. Jono.
I'm going to pick Tom de Koning.
Genuinely, honestly, I'm still upset about it because you know what? I didn't realize bread as well was like $5. What the fuck's that about? Jesus Christ, man. Like, being poor in this country.
Cheaper than that at Aldi, mate.
You know what I mean? Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I had to drive, just so everyone knows, 15 kilometres to that Coles as well. I couldn't go to my local Coles for reasons we legally can't talk about. I will say Patrick Cripps. Chat, I need midfielders, right? So, I put him in the wrong place. So we need a winger and we need 2 followers.
It'll be
Akers,
interesting.
Binns, Chera, Chincotta, Kerno, Doherty, Durden, Fantasia, Fogarty, Hewitt, Lord, McGovern, Mackay, Motlop, O'Farrell, O'Keefe, Walsh, White, Williams, Young, Flynn Young.
Be interesting to see who they pick for the other wing.
When 6. Hey, I'm willing. Make bread great again. Hey, can't be that hard, can it? Just wash your hands after you wee and poo.
Hewitt, Ches, Walsh.
Well,
Hewitt,
then,
Ches,
shine
Walsh.
in there, right? Do you agree? Right, settle a debate with my oldest. You know when you go for a wee and you're a boy. This is just a boy chat, but girls can do it. But you know when you wee and sometimes you can have that perfect wee where you don't actually touch anything but your trousers. Do you still wash your hands after that wee?
It's play on if you're not touching.
My son will love you forever for that.
Particularly if it's at home and you've left the door open, so you don't even need to touch the door handle.
Yeah. This was Mrs. Pom and my son had this debate, and I couldn't stop laughing when he's like, I didn't even touch anything.
Hewitt, Ches, Walsh, I think, for the picks, by the way.
And I just didn't get involved. I just was like, take it up with your mum.
We're venturing into spin-off team selection.
Honestly, I was just there. I was like,
podcast for junk chat.
Matt, though, I come from a poor family, so if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, push it down. Save water, mate. Save water. So he didn't touch it. Forwards, like dog.
Jesus. Cooper Lord is going to start on field for us at half forward. What half forward flank?
Mr. Jono.
Sorry, forward line. I'm picking your boy, Pom Cotter.
He's
Bang.
back.
Pom Cotter's back.
Makes me happy. Hope to see him there. You know what? Charlie's disappointed me, even though he's been good the last couple of weeks. Like, goal-wise. But he's disappointed me in his work rate. So, I'm going to debut.
Whoa!
Hey!
Finlay Young. Finlay
Ooh.
Young. Because, you know what, as well, just to make it better for my visual representation as well, I'm going to put him forward. Right, chat. We need forwards. So you've got Akers, Binns, Kerno, Doherty, Durden, Fantasia, Fogarty, McGovern, Mackay, Motlop, O'Farrell, O'Keefe, White, Williams, Young. We need 2 key forwards and preferably a pocket forward. Yeah, you see, Christian, that was another part of the debate. Mrs. Pom said that we do have spray sanitizer. Why didn't you use that? And he doubled down and was like, I didn't touch anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then the highlight at dinner was him saying this is victimization because he stands to we, which genuinely made me laugh. Genuinely, I was like, you do it, son, mate. You take the power back for men. Take it back. Looks like, I think Durden might win this, you know. Fogarty.
Yeah.
Is that Durden? Is that Charlie Mackay?
Yeah, it is. Shout out to Gandolfo, by the way. He's got O'Keefe in there. God bless him.
Okay. And Durds.
There's a vote for Will White. There's a vote for Zachy Williams.
I reckon they might find their way into the team.
Yeah.
Okay, bench. So we've all got one each. Chat. Get ready for one. Get ready for one. So, Black Dog.
I know who my heart wants to pick.
My heart will go
I'm going to pick
on.
Zach Williams and take the easy way out.
Z will. Guess who's back?
Yeah. I'm going to pick my boy, Jeff, Will White. We call him Jeff in our family because he wears number 38.
I wish he was Jeff Garlett.
He'd be fucking handy.
Jack Carroll's name Jeff. Don't they call him Jeff?
No, it's Matt Carroll.
Oh,
How
Matt
did Jack
Carroll.
Carroll play on Sunday, by the way, for St Kilda?
Oh, fuck that. How well am I doing? Yeah.
This is art.
Pick O'Keefe. Do what I didn't do.
Pick
He's
Josh
not.
Woods, not Pom.
You know what? Because the only one that you all complained about, chat, was McGovern. So I'm going to put McGovern in. I'm going to give you what you want. Become a nice guy. Become a nice guy. Chat, you just need one name.
Jeez, they're fucking.
No, we need
votes
two. We
flying
need a
for
sub.
Oh, we need two names. Two names. Sorry. Two names. Akers, Binns, Doherty, Fantasia, Fogarty, Young, O'Keefe, O'Farrell, Motlop.
Doc and Fog.
Doc's getting a lot.
Doc
Tell you
and
what.
Fog. One for Lewis. Wayne.
Tell you what. Doc does one little fucking video and says he'd like to play on next year, and look at the glaze coming in.
Do that. There you go.
The glaze. Okay, well, Samuel Doherty is in, and Lachlan Fogarty. Do you reckon Lockie Fogarty is the only Lachlan you've ever liked at Carlton Football Club?
I loved Lachlan Plowman.
Yeah, well, you did.
Well, for starters, the other Lockie you might be referring to didn't spell his name correctly, Pom.
True.
So, yeah, that's true. So, by my count, chat, you have killed these players.
I think they're all killable players.
Akers, Binns, Motlop, O'Farrell, Young. Well, we have killed him.
I reckon we nailed it, to be honest.
Williams, Chincotta, Flynn Young, JSOS, Boyd. What a team to face the scumbags up at the MCG. Do or die, must win. If you lose, go home. I'm looking forward to it. Let Dog, for the rest of the week, my friend, what have you got on, even though you are living hell on earth?
Living hell on earth. If you like Supercoach, my article dropped early in the week for Supercoach Draft on Code Sports. I was on the Falcon, a footy podcast, where we just discussed real fucked things about football. It was awesome fun. And I also did the mailbag with Damo, who featured on this very channel mere days ago. So
He did indeed. We
there's
like
plenty of stuff for me this week.
Very good. Make sure you head on over to the link is in there. If you follow that, you will get all the updates. Jono, great man. Can't understand what exciting stuff is planned for you guys.
Yeah, we've had a big week this week. We had a few weeks off purely because how many different times can you talk about the same things? But we managed to come together. We did a mid-season review, which is live up. Thank you very much to good friends of this channel and friends of everyone's, Paul Sebastiani and Chloe Williams, for their wonderful insights. So that's up and live now on the Gardner stand for everyone to see. We've also got up there now our second edition of the quarterly reviews. So just a mid-season one-liner on every single player on the list. So that's up there now. We might put up something between now and the game on Sunday night for previewing the Essendon game. Otherwise, pretty standard rest of the week for me, and looking forward to getting to the footy. Like, share, subscribe. All you need to do is you click on the link that Pom's going to put in the channel. It's already in the channel. It's in the chat. You just need to, if you're not subscribed, you just plop in your email there, choose which level of contribution you want to be at, whether it's free or yearly subscription or monthly subscription, and it gets sent straight to your inbox. You don't even have to go looking for it. So it's right there for you. Love to have you as part of our community.
Make sure you head on over there. A lot of hard work on there. You might see a Pom as well make some debut of writing. Haven't done a lot of writing since year 11. Kind of sacked that off. But we'll work it out. On this channel, you have got loads. You've got the tipping video coming up. It should be up either tonight or tomorrow morning. Then you've got a video that I've been working on for about 3 weeks. That should drop tomorrow evening. We're looking at a way of analysing how strong an AFL list really is. And we found a very novel way of seeing if your club is in trouble in the future based on your list. Loads of watch-alongs this week. You've got 4 this week because we've got the long weekend. So loads of great content. On your way out, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you go and see them. If you head on over to Horizon Finance as well, say you've come from Pom, you'll get a free credit check and advice on how to make your credit better. Love you all. Go Blues. Bring back 4 points. Enjoy the rest of your working week.